Welcome to my channel. If you are new, my name is Darlene, and if you have been here for a while, one of the reasons you might have found my channel was because of all of the freezer cooking meals that I did over the years. Now in 2024, I wanted a fresh start and I just kind of started all over again here on YouTube. But I know the one thing that a lot of my viewers and subscribers like to see over the years was how I use my freezer. And I thought it'd be good to maybe do a weekly Freezer Friday at least 2 to 3 times a month and show you how I use it to save me time and money. It could be shopping the sales to take advantage of items and freeze them. It could be making sure that I don't waste any produce. It could be making a big batch of something and freezing it, so on a night when I don't feel like making dinner, I can pull something from my freezer. And it's gonna be a variety of things. So like, comment, subscribe if you are new, and comment down below on some of the things that you would like to see me share on Freezer Fridays. So here's just a little glimpse into one day. I wanted to fill it up, and I wanted to do a little bit more reorganization with my freezer inventories. So I hope that you enjoy a little peek into how I use my freezers to save me time and money. I need to figure out what we are going to have for dinner tonight, so I'm going to my freezer inventory to see what we have, and I need something quick and easy. So I'm looking at the freezer meals that I've made, and I have a large container of chili, and then I'm looking at to see if I have any bread, and I do have some homemade buns that I made, some homemade bread that I put in the freezer. So chili and garlic bread would be a really nice, quick, easy dinner for my family tonight. Dinner is out. I cut up the chili and put it in this 2-quart crock pot. I got this at Christmas time. There was 2 of them for $25 in a box. It said keep one and gift one. So I kept one and gave the other one to my daughter, and she uses it for the same thing. Whenever she has something frozen that's already cooked, she just uses it to reheat it in here. So I was really curious about this beautiful brand by Drew Barrymore, if it's really any good. I am looking to get a crock pot. It's not something I use a lot, but I would like to have a newer one. So anyways, the chili is in here. I don't need to worry about it. And then I did take out the buns and the bread just to kind of clean it up from the freezer, and then I'm just going to make garlic bread with it. I have some garlic butter that I made before. I just take some butter with garlic powder, mix it all in, put it on the bread, put a little bit of cheese, and then bake it in the oven, and it just helps with getting dinner on the table. So I just stroked out the chili here, and then I did make spaghetti sauce, so I do have some more quick, easy dinners, and then I just stroked off all of the bread. So one of the things I also want to do today is do a little bit of housekeeping and update all of these lists, because they're just getting to the point where it's just a lot of scribbling and I need to update everything. So that's one of my priorities today too, with just being able to go to my freezer and get what we need. So the other thing I'm going to be focusing on is a new idea that I have with a freezer in our garage, where it's kind of all of my baked goods. I brought a couple of things in the day before, so I just stroked them off. And I really want to kind of have a little bit more in this freezer out here and just kind of keep it like homemade baked items. So I have some cookies in here. I have some more mini blueberry muffin bread, some blueberry pancakes that I made, and then a fresh loaf of bread. And what I'm trying to do is bake some items that I don't want to purchase in the grocery store. So that way I am baking them, I'm cooking items from scratch, and that way it'll also help with the grocery costs. Last time I made bread, I made 2 loaves, we ate one, and then I froze one. So I don't really know if this is something I'm going to do because I haven't seen how the bread holds up. So I do want to do a little bit of baking today. So I have some zucchini. So I'm going to go ahead and get this all grated, and I'm going to try out a new recipe today to hopefully be able to use for breakfast in the future. The reason I want to have more baked items in my freezer is because Monday to Friday during the week, breakfast is usually eaten by 6:30. It's usually quick and easy. Lots of times it's cereal, yogurt, fruit, muffins, baked items. So I'm shredding up the zucchini, and then I'm just chopping up some walnuts. And I'm trying out a new recipe today with a little bit cleaner ingredients. And if I buy it from the store, there's so many different ingredients in it, a lot of sugar, and I'm trying to have better options for breakfast. This is a brand new recipe. I haven't tried it. I will link it down below. I did use vegetable oil. You use eggs. There's no sugar in it. So I used a combination of honey and unsweetened applesauce. And then it's just some flour and some baking powder. And then it did call for cinnamon, and I would add more. I use like a little bit more than a teaspoon of cinnamon. I probably would have put a little bit more cinnamon and a little bit more nutmeg. I really felt like it needed a little bit more flavor for that. And then I'm just going to add in the zucchini, the walnuts, and I'm going to put some golden raisins. I was thinking about adding in some chocolate chips. Lots of times I do that. And I really just wanted to kind of see what the texture was on this, because sometimes when you don't use sugar and then you use all of these different ingredients, sometimes it's not always the nicest tasting muffin or baked item. So I was very curious to see how this was going to turn out. I could have put probably some flaxseed in here too. I'm going to experiment a little bit, but I really just kind of wanted to have a base for this mixture and see if I can add to it and how it holds up. So I like to use these little mini loaves, and what I do is, instead of doing a muffin and eating a whole muffin, I find for our family, I bring in the loaf, I cut it into 3. Everybody has a portion of it with some yogurt. Sometimes my husband will still have cereal on top of it. It's really what everybody wants, but I just feel like this is a better option instead of buying the muffins or pastries and all of that at the grocery store or doing a pickup order. I just feel like this is a better option. So it makes 8 nice little mini loaves, mini muffins, and I'm going to put it into the oven, 350 degrees, and I'm going to bake them for 25 minutes. They look really good. I like the zucchini, the walnuts, and then the raisins, and then using honey, applesauce, and a little bit of a higher protein yogurt. These will be perfect for breakfast. And then I also just took a little bit of time on the computer. I took all of this handwriting, scratching everything out, and I just kind of did my freezer inventory on the computer. That way it is saved and I can just go in and, you know, delete, add things in. So I went freezer inventory, and then I just went the freezer meals, the large minestrone soup, 2 large spaghetti sauce, 2 smaller spaghetti sauce, and then I went yellow for poultry, red for beef, and then blue for pork. That's the way I used to organize my big deep freezer. Now we have a smaller stand-up one in our garage. All of the videos will be linked down below, where you can go back and look at all of those videos. But for poultry, I have a couple of ground turkey. I just did the GT. It's giant tiger. I got chicken when it was on sale, so I know exactly what that is. And then I have 5 packages of pineapple sausage, 2 pack of chicken breast, a single chicken breast. So it's like kind of my own wording. So I have an 8 pack of chicken thighs, a 9 pack of chicken thighs, breaded chicken that I got at Metro. I know exactly what that is. So then I just left it here, and then I can just stroke everything out as I use it. And the same with the beef. I did a little bit different with the beef. So I had a large sirloin roast, and I'm going to use that for like a roast beef dinner. And then the 2 smaller ones, the Mississippi pot roast, and then just doing 1 shredded for tacos. And then I have 3 extra lean ground beef, 3 ground beef. And then last week I got ground beef and pork mixture for $3 a pound. So my plan was to make meatloaf, meatballs, and burgers with it. And then pork, I have a ham bone, so I'm going to make some soup. I have Italian sausage with no casing. It's just like ground meat. I have pork chops. I have a lot of pork tenderloin. I should be doing that. And then I also have 3 packages of ground pork. So that way I can keep track of everything. And I left a little bit of wiggle room too, just to write something in by hand if I add anything in here. And then I have cranberries. I've had those this Christmas. They're frozen. So I am going to make this cranberry bread. I'm not going to do the orange glaze. I just got all of the stuff out to make 2 loaves. And that way I use up the cranberries. I'm going to bake though this and then freeze it. And then when I go to use it, I can just make the glaze for it. So I have a full video on making this. I will link it down below. It is now time for the taste test. So I cut it into thirds. I was very happy with the texture of it. It was very moist, but it wasn't like other recipes that I've tried. I'm glad that I put the nuts and raisins in here. I did find that it needed either more cinnamon or cinnamon and nutmeg. I found the cinnamon, you couldn't really taste it. But I think this is something I would make again. I think I could even use the whole wheat flour, add in a little bit of flaxseed just to give it a little bit more substance to it so it wasn't quite so moist, and then increase the nutritional value with it. But I would make this again. You could even put cottage cheese in here probably, like if you put it in the blender. I know a lot of people are using cottage cheese when they make items, and it would be the same as putting in yogurt. So I'm definitely going to make this again, and I might even try muffins with a little bit of chocolate chips. It is a few hours later. I made a double batch of the cranberry orange bread. I'll link it down below for the video, and the recipe and everything is there. The zucchini bread is cooled, so I broke it down the way that I like to do it. I like to have some fresh and then I freeze some. So I need the oven to make the garlic bread, so I'm going to go ahead and get this sliced up. I also have some garlic butter from the last time I made garlic bread, just some butter with some garlic powder, and I want to get this in the oven, and then that way I can get the cranberry loaf done and put into the oven so it is baking in the oven while we're eating dinner and doing the cleanup. And I really am just trying to do little things here and there. I don't want to spend a full day in the kitchen anymore making items for my freezer, and I thought this was the best way to use my time on this particular day. And I'm also cleaning up some frozen cranberries that I bought at Christmas time. I made that recipe at Thanksgiving when there was fresh cranberries, and I couldn't find any whenever I wanted to make it for Christmas, so I bought the frozen ones and then never ended up making it at Christmas because we had so many other goodies. But we did use the cranberries as ice cubes over the holidays for the drinks. It was really nice, and I've just been procrastinating with making this recipe, and here it is, the middle of March, and I'm finally dealing with the cranberries that I purchased at the holidays. So 2 loaves of bread, and whenever I bring out the garlic bread, those will go into the oven for 1 hour. So I'm just going to go ahead and get the plates and bowls ready to go, so that way I can serve up the chili and put the garlic bread on the plates when it comes out of the oven. I have the loaves in the oven, the garlic bread is out, and I have a little bit of a mess to clean up. I cleaned everything up from the zucchini muffins and everything that I made earlier, and then the dishwasher, I got it emptied and now I'm filling it up again. This is our new dishwasher. It's an LG. We got it from Costco. I love it. It is so much better than the Samsung one that we had, and this is the product, finished product. Nice homemade chili that I made a while ago with some sour cream, some shredded cheese, green onions, and the homemade bread makes really nice garlic bread. So as we were eating dinner and I was doing all of the cleanup, the bread is in the oven, finishing up the baking. Those were the cookies that I brought out this week, and everything is cleaned up. The little slow cooker is put away. I have breakfast here for the next couple of days. I have some little mini loaves to enjoy later when I don't have anything, and then I'm just going to put the loaves on there. So there's my freezer inventory that I did, and then I also went ahead and updated my kitchen freezer inventory. So this is most of the convenience items, and then I also like to have produce in here. Some of it's fresh that I freeze and some of it I buy. So I was able to do that all while the bread was in there. So this is where I like to keep the convenience items. In here I have some schnitzel I got last week on sale. And then this is all of the fruits and vegetables. I also have some breakfast hash. And then up here is usually where I keep the odds and ends bread. So my yeast is up here. We have some ice cream, some popsicles, and then my big bucket of ice. But I like to keep this area here kind of for that odds and ends bread. So if I have some, I can use it for breadcrumbs. I can use it for croutons. So here is the 2 loaves of bread out. A lot of cranberries. I thought when I made it the first time there wasn't enough cranberries in here, so I'm kind of worried that it's going to be very tart. So once it cools down a bit, I'm going to slice it open just to make sure that it's good, because I've never done it with the frozen cranberries. And here it is. The frozen cranberries worked fine. Very tart with all of the cranberries, but I'm going to freeze them, and then when I take them out, I'll make the glaze, and it's so nice. So when I do the half loaf, I'll just do a half a thing of the glaze. So here is the muffins. I like to do them in packages of 2, and then I just wrapped up the loaves in parchment paper and then put them in some Ziploc and then some reusable. So that way I have some stuff added to my freezer out here. And I didn't spend all day in the kitchen. I felt like I used my time wisely. So I have some items here. So when it's the weekend and I feel like something homemade, I don't feel like baking, I can pull it out, do the glaze. I have some pancakes, a homemade loaf of bread, and I just try and do things gradually. So this is the freezer that we have now instead of the big chest freezer. So I have chili here, I have some minestrone soup. I've been getting a lot of meat because I've been shopping the sales the last couple of weeks, and then I also did like the garage freezer, the baked items that I made. These I'm just going to write out by hand because it's not too much and it's always changing, but I'm really glad that I was able to take all of my meat and do a good inventory on the computer, so it'll be easier to update it, and then I could also go in and add what I want to use certain items for recipes, and I think that's really going to help me. And then the last thing I like to do is just go over my freezer inventory and look at what I can make for quick, easy dinners when I feel like I'm in a little bit of a meal rut. Dinner rut. And then I also wrote a couple of notes down on what I need to keep an eye out for, either on sales or things I just want to pick up if I'm doing a pickup order or just need to get into the grocery store. Maybe I should pick up a couple of things to help get dinner ready over the next couple of nights. So I really hope that you enjoyed the first Freezer Friday video in this series, and if you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe, and we will talk to you all soon.